What up, everybody? Name is Leo, the hero, if you don't know who this is. I'm gonna do a reaction to what she's saying about these boys today, and hope you all enjoy what I'm about to say. So yes, about that Splinter thing, I consider the same thing, but the only difference is it didn't really matter how it happened. He always came back alive in the first place, and the fact that the invasions were supposed to happen, because that's what this is supposed to be almost about. Then why would you not have them in the first place? But but for this perspective, I believe that Splinter's going to be just fine. There won't be much as harm in the past as there was before. He's probably now staying where he belongs, which is in the sewer, and let the boys fight for him. Not gonna say he won't defend himself, but let me just say that now so I don't have to put it out there for later. Now, about those invasions. They were not bad. Maybe the one negative part is that Splinter died. Because they had to learn life without them for about half the season of 4. And of course, they did it before in season 2 of the other invasion with the Krang. And with the Krang and the Triceratons now gone, Earth is saved. There's no more machine out there that can destroy the world that has been built around us. And deep inside, I know you all feel it, that you know that we're safe, that they're safe from the world. Now the question is going to be them. What's going to save them in the future? Well, we're going to find out in about a couple of weeks. The new episode of Super Shredder. Going to be a showdown. Now I've seen the new promo. I haven't seen the full of it, and I don't want to spread spoilers to people out there who want to see this thing for real. So I'm going to keep it quiet for you to see it for yourself. But for the way Shredder looks, I don't think you can say any more freakier than he has to be. I think he's in a bit of his own mind right now. He wanted to be this way, guys. He wanted to be like this. It was his idea after he got his ass whooped the last time he was around. And I heard that Karai was attacked. That's not a good sign. That's not a good sign, because that's the one person that actually don't want to get hurt because of what she's been through and how she got to the good side in the first place. Let me talk about Karai for a second. Do you know the kind of pain it is to see a child that doesn't know her parents were back then? She was just a child when Shen was slashed by Shredder. And by accident, Shredder took her, raised her, taught her every trick in the book, and didn't know she was attacking her real father back then. But then, thanks to one dear soul of Leonardo, came in and saved her life. And now she's on our side, but the problem is she's doing things her own way, like she would do to Splinter in the past, like I mentioned, but in a different route. Hopefully she'll come to her senses and join us one day, because we need her to stay alive. I need her to stay alive. We don't need to see another soul go away from us. And she's the last person I don't think that wants that pain to continue to happen to her. She was mutated. She was mind controlled. She was almost anything a normal human wouldn't be. But she did. But glad it was over. Or glad that it's over for her now at the moment. We'll talk about the. Now let's talk about that crystal that she was saying. I don't want that crystal to separate her and Donnie from what they have become. From the very first episode that they met, they have not looked up upon each other. They ain't been with it to the very end. And it's not going to stop. Not one little material thing can stop them. But I'm getting a little worried that the crystal's got some powers that are hidden from Donnie. Or from them, should I say. It shouldn't be separating them. Because in that wingnut thing that she said earlier, it wasn't a pretty sight, I just say that now. It brought things to life, which means that definitely has magic. Hopefully the magic gets taken away in the future. So that Donnie doesn't have to keep doing things for her when she's in trouble. So that she could be normal as a kunoichi she is now today. Congratulations, that's well accomplished for her. But hopefully she don't change her mind when she don't realize she's being taken over by something that was in space, hidden underneath a black hole piece, in an entire different world where it was full with hate in the beginning of it. And she was talking about the new characters that are coming up. Travaxis, Alopex. Those two are new characters, and one of them might end our world, like I mentioned earlier in the reaction video about the evil dragons. Let me just say dragons are cool, but they're not meant to be in this version. Because he's going to come from underneath somewhere in the underground, going to raise hell upon New York City. And that will be something to watch, because that means the end of this season might be a killer. Might be one of the best that they will ever do. If any of it has to do with them, why not be it at that time? I feel like calling Travaxis Fireheart because kind of the same looks, and of course they both breathe fire. What do you think? You don't. If you're not a dragon, what do I need to call you? And Alopex, she says she is a good guy. I think it's by default that she's a good guy, good person, because she was with Tiger Claw, I heard, and Tiger Claw was in that Travaxis episode. So I'm gonna imagine those two are going to change in the future. You don't believe me? Look at their reactions. They're the same ones when they saw the Krang mutate them. Alright. Now, I don't know if she got to this part yet, but I'm going to do it for her. Talk about individually what these bros have done. I'm going to start off with Donnie. Like I said, what about April? Donnie met her in the very first episode, and again, he has not looked her eyes away from her. He's built many machines, many inventions out of garbage, brain tech. Stuff you wouldn't make out of it in your own imagination. And let me just say that the best one he's made was the stealth cycle. That thing looked bad A. Bad A, if you didn't hear me. He has the brains of a scientist and of an engineer. He has a brain. He's able to use it. His weapon is a long stick. Yes, we know, not as useful as you think, but it helps him in some of his battles. But what else can I say about him? He's pretty much the only person that can reverse all these mutated things that's been happening so far. He made the DNA. That, what was it called? Retro? retro DNA. Yeah, retromutation. The red stuff. That was probably the best thing he made out of that discovery. Turned out to be well for April, but still, gotta do it for everybody else. It takes some time for Donnie, but he's got his praise. He's earned it. Mikey, he's the funny guy. Of course, we know who he is. He had his few moments of prime from the day they allowed him to go out on his own one time with that wingnut bug-eye weirdo. That episode was his episode to do. Okay, who does comic books anymore, people? Who does that as a episode? Also, Mikey was in the pizza face, had to fight a bunch of million pizzas. That was great. Went inside his mind. That was crazy. He's the one guy that I don't think anybody wants to see him lose either. Because without that fun-loving spirit, where would Raph be? He keeps looking down on him as his only hope. And we all can feel the same way when we have a brother who likes to knock you off, but also wants to be there when you need him. Speaking of Raph, he's had the toughest moments going by him, and not by his own enemy either. He fears insects. He has anger issues. He loves to fight, and also loves to stubborn Leo up a little bit in case he doesn't know what he's talking about. Obviously, his best moments was, again, when he faced the fear and when he controlled his anger. Because when he does that, he's the best fighter we got. And if I can say this now, if what's Raph there for to be? Just there in case you need him? I don't know. A lot of guys have a conversation about who's better, Raph or Leo. Well, if you know my answer, it's the other guy. But Raph is a good part of our team. He's gotten better along-wise. And it's only a matter of time before he gets this. It's only a matter of time before he becomes a complete team player. Now I'm going to go to my guy. My favorite turtle in this entire chapter is Leonardo. From the day he became leader, I knew something was going right. He's done a lot of right things for himself. Trained out of a great master, learned his leadership abilities along the way. He turned Karai's life around, like I mentioned earlier. It made him a better person for all we know. His best moments have been when they needed him the most. From, like I said, from Karai, and that New Girl Town thing, from the fungus humongous where all the mushrooms invaded everybody's brain of fears, and he was their only hope. When all the times he wanted to find Karai, when all the times he saved him from the deadly venom, that was his best performance. Solely on my turf. Also, when he went to get the second